Hi there, Patrick Peace here, doing a review of Richard Dawkins' The Selfish Gene. This video I'm covering Chapter 5. It's entitled Aggression, Stability, and the Selfish Machine. In this chapter, I've found a new reaction to Richard Dawkins' teachings, and that is a reaction of horror. I started off essentially angry at him, and then I switched to pity, and now I've kind of come, I wouldn't say full circle, but I've reached a new level of repulsion at his writing. He starts off by saying that, well, of course, he's already said that humans are just a survival machine for the genes that they carry. And he says that, you know, a survival machine, unless it's a parent or close relative, another survival machine is just part of its environment, he says here at the beginning of the chapter. It's just like a rock or a river or a lump of food. That's how he says that a human would end up treating another human based on his theory. Now, he says this would be a naive interpretation of his theory. Well, his theory of the selfish gene is a naive theory. So this is what you end up with when somebody were to believe this type of teaching. It reduces humans to just an unthinking machine that carries on it's to promote the replication of its own genes. And he introduces this term that he calls ESS, Evolutionary Stable Strategy. Now, he boldly claims that this is probably the most significant contribution to evolutionary theory since Darwin. This is his new term here, a term that he made up. And again, he always uses his own version of definitions or language. He admits at the beginning of the chapter he's going to use the language of convenience, but later on in the chapter he's going to return to the language of single genes, whatever that means, whatever it means for him, right? He can use language like a magician at will, and he can use it this way, and then later on he's going to use it that way. And he goes through a wide-ranging coverage of game theory. He does bring up a mention of this type of game theory resulting in a stable population in a very short period of time. And if that's the case, he just conveniently switches the term, and instead he calls it a developmentally stable strategy. So if something didn't take a long period of time to develop, as he says that evolutionarily stable strategy is, then he just changed the term. Well, if it only happens, if an animal can learn how to be stable amongst the other inhabitants of its group, then that's a developmentally stable strategy because it happened in a lab, but quickly. He uses an interesting example of pigs that are competing for food and whatnot. I'll leave that for now. I won't go into much detail. And then he summarizes by saying good genes are genes that survive, a tautology by definition, as is the whole book. The whole book is a type of tautology where he just creates a definition, talks about that definition, and then re-summarizes his definition. Then he can move on to a different definition and use that in a different instance. And so he says, good genes are genes that have developed an evolutionary stable strategy. He's really not saying anything. So not a lot in chapter 5, just a very depressing type of theory and evaluation of nature that he proposes in this particular chapter. And so I would encourage you, whoever you are that may be reading, don't be deceived by what you find in books like this or doctrines similar to this. They are anti-human doctrines. And if you happen to be watching this video, I hope you benefit from it so that you'll learn how to stay away from these type of doctrines, which are anti-human doctrines. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you. Good luck in your studies. I'll talk to you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye. Moving on to chapter 6, which is called Genesmanship. hopefully I can dig into that in the next little while. Take care now. Bye-bye.